But first, disposable vapes are to be banned and e-cigarettes restricted to just 4 flavours in a bid to protect children's health and prevent them from becoming hooked for life. Well, the government crackdown comes as the number of youngsters vaping has tripled in the last 3 years, with almost 10% of 11 to 15-year-olds now vaping. Ministers fear the growth is being fuelled by bright, colourful packaging and a wide range of fruity flavours. The new measures were announced by Rishi Sunak during a school visit this morning, where he said firm action must be taken before vaping becomes endemic.
Children shouldn't be vaping. We don't want them to get addicted. We still don't understand the full long-term health impacts of vaping. So it's right that we take strong action to stamp this out. That's what we're doing. Banning disposable vapes, taking powers to go after the flavours, the appearance, the packaging where vapes are displayed in stores, but also improving enforcement, making it easier to levy on-the-spot fines at retailers who shouldn't be selling to kids. Taken together, it's a strong set of measures so we can improve our children's health. It's the right long-term thing for the country.
But there are fears the PM's wider clampdown on cigarettes could disappear in a puff of smoke, with rebel Tories mobilising against legislation that would phase out tobacco products. Liz Truss branded that proposed ban profoundly unconservative and accused her successor of seeking to extend the nanny state. But despite the backbench Tory turbulence, it's expected Sunak's package of measures will pass with Labour support. Personally, I think the ban on the disposable vapes is perfectly sensible. I mean, I have 2 teenagers. I see them with all their friends. It is already, I would say, an endemic. It's complete contagion over the last few years, and more of them do it. You're almost like uncool if you don't do it now. Plus the environmental impact. You see these things strewn out. The fact that they're disposable, they're one-hit wonders, and then they're just filling landfill, I think is ridiculous. And the whole point about vaping was meant to be getting smokers off the fags and for it to be a better thing for them to, for their health. This is an introduction to smoking for teenagers, so it's getting them onto something that they probably... Because smoking cigarettes have become very untrendy and uncool for cigarettes, so I think that's really sensible. The other very complicated plan whereby you'll start phasing out what age you can buy cigarettes. So you're going to have adults who are 6 months apart in age, but one, it's illegal for them to buy cigarettes, but their friend who they were in the same year at school as, so they can't, or they can buy cigarettes. That to me seems a nonsense.
You know who did that? Jacinda Ardern.
And then undid it.
Absolute tyrannical nut job from New Zealand. She did this, and then when her successor got in, scrapped it.
Yeah.
Said,
Screeching U-turn.
Yeah, absolutely right. If I want to have a Hubba Bubba Chocky Wocky Bazooka Joe flavoured vape, I can have one. But not according to Rishi Sunak, because he said, no, we can't trust you with that because we've got a couple of kids who are monkeying around with the vapes as well. Most kids, by the way, I think it's 4 out of 5, try it a bit. They're not fully hooked up to it. Most mates of mine that got teenage kids, your children's age, Daisy, would never dream of smoking. It's like a whole separate thing. The idea, you mentioned smoking, and they're like, what? Why would I do that? No, this is vaping. That's a whole different thing. So I'm not suggesting we endorse it.
So actually, it's a really complicated problem, this.
Correct.
Because I think it's multifactorial. You've got the medical side. So essentially, you've got the liquid, you're atomising it, you heat it to 200 degrees, you get all these compounds off. We know medically you have acetaldehyde, acrolein, formaldehyde, all of these really toxic chemicals giving you lung disease and heart disease. Really bad idea. I don't want kids doing that. Equally, though, it is already illegal for children to buy those vapes. So there is some sort of confusion over what is going on here. Also, your point about the environmental impact, really good one. It's really important, and I agree about the disposable ones. But also, I'm looking at this with political eyes open. What is Rishi Sunak doing? Why is this front page news? We have a general election coming up. Is this really what we want? I also think this is the extension of the nanny state. Of course, we've got that. You've got the ridiculous notion that a 64-year-old will be asking a 65-year-old to buy cigarettes for them. And at the same time, you've got the Labour Party having supervised toothbrushing. So aren't there bigger problems going forward? So that's why I said it's actually multifactorial and complicated.
But kids' health is a big problem, and it'll only get worse going forward if it continues as it is. Granted, yes, most kids don't smoke, but currently 9% of 11 to 15-year-olds are vaping and are addicted to it. and that number would only increase. So
Are they addicted?
they are, well, according to the statistics in the surveys, yes, they are. 9%, that's 11 to 15-year-olds, no younger. But having said that, well, actually, no, not having said that, you saying that this is pushing further than any state, I think the government should have a role in helping us
But
with
do
our
you
health.
think the state should actually say, oh, there are only 4 flavours we approve of? I mean,
Yes,
that's the bit that you're
yes,
that's your point.
I think they should be. I think
Why?
they should be. Because it's like when we had Alka Pops, and there were lots of different fruit flavours, and kids were buying those and drinking those. Something you've ignored that Sunak has said, and I don't want to defend Sunak, I can't stand him either, but he has said on-the-spot fines will be easier to hand out, which is part of the problem, that these shops are selling these things to kids, and they're making these vapes look attractive to children. Now that's going to be stopped. So handing out the fines will bring this...
But they can already
Hang on,
find...
who's going to enforce this? Police are not investigating 80% of shoplifting crime.
It's not
I mean,
police,
actual
it's trading
crime.
standards are the ones who are going to...
But they can
Trading
already
standards
do
are actually
that.
going to get out there and enforce this, because I don't feel like this is a real policy. I don't know how they're going to enforce it. Also, why has, and you kind of gestured towards this, why has Rishi Sunak become so obsessed with this at a time? I mean, yes, the Health Secretary, of course, and Victoria Atkins has been out and about today. But what is his obsession with vapes? I watched him at a press conference today, and he talked about this in a school in Darlington. He talked about it for much longer when we're on the brink of, allegedly on the brink of World War III. What's his obsession with
I mean,
vaping?
it might be because he has children of that age. I mean, most politicians
Too generous, Daisy.
they do. No, I'm just. I did sort of say.
Well, no,
I'll tell you in a second what it is.
I'm
Children are
guessing
younger
he's
than
done.
that, and I
Well,
doubt that
I'm
either
guessing
of
he's
those
done a
children-
focus group. He must have.
No,
he must have
it's
decided.
actually far simpler than all of this. It's about the only thing he'll get through Parliament during his
Because
last
it
remaining
uses
month.
existing legislation. That's why
Indeed,
he can do it.
but also it's going to be supported by... There's no way... I mean, this won't be overturned when Labour become the next government. They're not going to go, we're going to overturn that ban on vapes
Bring
for
back vaping.
11-year-olds. They're going to keep it going. Rishi Sunak needs to leave Parliament with something. I'd like to see him getting equally as animated about kids stabbing each other, equally animated about kids taking Class A's, equally animated about
about old
kids
people
using
not being able
stupid
to
pronouns.
heat their
I'd like
homes.
to see him
But
do
you-
that.
yeah, look,
but
because-
I'm not. I'm hearing about
I get that, but
Hubba Bubba flavoured vapes.
But this is something that is it a problem? Kids vaping? Yes.
Yes.
Are shops selling vapes illegally to kids who should not be buying them? Yes. Can Sunak's government stop that from happening? Yes. So he's doing it just because he's not.
It's already illegal.
It's already illegal, and now he's going to reduce the flavours, and he's going to make it easier to give those.
Our
shops.
Prime Minister, did he
He's
wake
gonna
up,
make,
JJ?
He's going
and
to
go,
make those.
I really need to get rid of the banana flavoured.
He's going to make the fines easier to apply.
The milkshake
So that is a
and
good
Hubba
thing.
Bubba he doesn't
It's
like.
that
But that
he
is a good thing. He's going to make the fines.
He's the Prime
easier.
Minister.
But
Yes,
this
and he's
is
doing
all
his
about-
job.
But this is also all about shifting the political narrative, isn't it? The fact is, as Ian says, he can be in control of this. All those other things, like the 5 pledges, he is way out of control. And we have an election coming up. He knows he's in serious trouble.
Yeah, so he's looking for a win,
pledge. He's looking
win.
for a new
He's-
pledge.
He's,
for a win.
he's,
But he
he's,
can
he's looking
pledge.
for a win, and maybe
And
it's a bit
succeed.
of a cheap
This
win,
is it.
an easy,
I mean, he's
an
going to
easy
go out.
win.
You know, people will look at Thatcher and go capitalism. People will look at Blair and say he managed to tame the left. People will look at Rishi Sunak and go, he stopped the vapes.
He stopped the vape. Well,
And his new slogan, "Stop the butts," is not going to. I'm afraid, it's not going to wash in the same way.
well,